In today's video, we're putting the Bitmain Antminer L9 head-to-head against the brand new Elphapex DG2. What's going on, crypto miners? Welcome back to the channel. Right here, this is a lot of Dogecoin. This is a lot of hash rate right here. So today we're going to be putting head-to-head the Bitmain Antminer L9 against the Elphapex DG2. So the Bitmain Antminer L9 has been out for quite some time now, about a year, maybe a tiny bit more there. And man, you gotta love this model. This is one of my beefiest script miners to date that I went ahead and purchased. And it's been a fantastic workhorse up to now. Taking a look here though, here is the new boy on the block. This is the Elphapex DG2. We just got this in over from the team over at Elphapex. Thank you to them for giving us an exclusive look at this early model. This is a production model, and the full units will start shipping in November of the DG2 and the DG2 Plus. So side by side, you could definitely tell the Elphapex DG2 is significantly larger. This unit actually has 4 hash boards in it and weighs just over 40 pounds total. Whereas we do have the Antminer L9, which is coming in at 3 hash boards and is significantly less, somewhere around 35 pounds total. Now, what we're going to do today is we are going to put these head to head. We're going to set them up over at my ASIC mining shed. We're going to let both of them run simultaneously for 1 hour. And after 1 hour, we're going to come back, take a look at watts at the wall. We're going to look at hash rate. We're going to look at efficiency. We're going to look at DB levels to give you guys all the details and educate you guys on both of these monster script miners. We're over here at our ASIC mining property here. This is where we have our ASIC mining shed. If you guys have been following along on the channel, or maybe not, we're actually going to be building a whole second shed here, putting in a massive pad. Super hyped for it. Well, let's go ahead and jump inside. We're gonna do this test here because our electric rate is 7 cents over here versus back home, we are at 16 cents. So over here, we're running almost 30 full-size ASIC miners in this shed with not your traditional high RPM fans. We're running the inline fans with the shroud kit, which allows us to remove those high RPM fans because we're at the very end of a residential setting. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the L9 and the DG2. We're going to set them up on the workbench here. I do have to go ahead and unplug these. I'm going to unplug all the other miners that I do have on these PDUs, giving each one their own PDU. So we're going to power off just for a few hours. There's an old KS2 here that's actually Mr. Electrician's. This is his property. I have an S9 with brains down to 300 watts. 2 Volk miner D1 minis on DOGECOIN, an Ice River AE1 Lite on Alio. We have a GPU Risers Octominer case with 8 X080s on Ergo. We have the Canaan Avalon Q on Bitcoin. We have the Bit Chimney on Bitcoin, and we also have the Flu Miner L1. So let me get all these unplugged. The nice thing is both of these miners actually use the P13 plug, which has kind of become the new industry standard, into a C20. So it is nice that things are becoming a little bit more uniform. But let me get everything unplugged and the new miners inside. All right, I'm excited for this test. First up, we have our Bitmain Antminer L9 here. We have our Ethernet plugged in, running over to our outlet, as well as our P13 to our C20. Nothing else is on here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to let these run, honestly, for a good 3 to 5 hours, and then come back here, check in on watts at the wall. We're going to check in at real-time hash rate. We're going to take a look at average hash rate during that time period, as well as other things like what is the pool hash rate reporting. And we are going to report on the ambient temperatures just to go ahead and have that for you guys in case you guys are in kind of that same exact boat. So let's go ahead and get our L9 plugged in first. And let's hop on over. Our DG2. All right, we'll let these power up here. Good to see. And guys, I'm gonna put all of the data from our testing, not that it's super scientific, but I'm gonna put all the data in a spreadsheet directly down below. I'll see you guys back here in a few hours. All right, we've been up and hashing for 6 hours as of right now. Both of our miners are running great. It's 74 to 75 degrees. For those of you guys that rock Celsius, 23.7. So it's a really good temperature, especially for miners right now. L9, no issues at all, no errors, running no problem. The DG2 running great, a little bit louder definitely on these fans for sure, but each of these is on their own PDUs. Jumping over to the computer, a quick look here. You can see our average hash rate for the L9 about 16.7, for the DG2 17.9. And when we look poolside, taking a look here, let's go ahead and filter that up. Let's go over to script, take a closer look. Our DG2 has averaged about 19.2 and our L9 16.3. So let's take all this data, including the watts at the wall, and let's jump over to the computer because there's a lot to go over here. While we're back home here, we're going to take each of these units individually and get them set up right here in my basement to do a much quieter and more accurate dB test for sound levels. All right, it's been 15 minutes. The Bitmain Antminer L9 is up first. We're about 84.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And let's take a look at our dB levels. We'll say about 74 dB. All right, up next we have the Elphapex DG2. We're about 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and let's take a look at our dB meter. All right, we'll say about 81 maybe as our average there. All right, so while numbers and spreadsheets to me are traditionally very boring, I do think it's super important to go over the numbers from my testing and allow you to make the best decision possible on these miners in the future. So taking a look over here, we have real-time hash rate after 6 hours. We also have average hash rate after 6 hours and what it's showing poolside, which is extremely important because poolside is actually what pays you at the end of the day. So real quick, jumping through here, real-time hash rate, the DG2 did end up winning over that, as you can see here at 16.6. When it comes down to the average hash rate in a 6-hour time period, the DG2 did win over that one as well, coming in at 17.9. Now, when we look at poolside, same thing. 17.7 for our L9, so it performed really well, but coming in at 19.08 for the poolside for the DG2. Now, looking at the temperatures here, both these units were run in 75 degree Fahrenheit temperatures, and we had 3,447 for our L9 versus the DG2 came in at 3,971. So from a watt perspective, we do see that the L9 did win out over the watts here versus the hash rate. However, jumping over to efficiency, which is very, very important, the L9 comes in at 0.205 for our efficiency, whereas the DG2 after 6 hours comes in at 0.22. So the L9 does win out on efficiency overall. Moving on to more information here, talking about dB levels, if this is a major factor for you, if this is something you're going to try to run at home. The L9 came in at 74 dB, whereas the DG2 came in at 81. So we are going to go ahead and award this win over to the L9 when it comes down to our sound levels. Let's talk about profitability. Let's take a closer look at what this would be. So we're going to look at using the average hash rate for our revenue and profit numbers, not the real time, but the average over 6 hours. So looking at the L9 comes in at 16.98, whereas the DG2 comes in at 18.14. So we're going to award that over to the DG2. Looking at a cost perspective, I am testing this at my shed. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my electric rate here, which is 0.072. And from a cost perspective, the lower the better, which the cost to run the miner is $5.96 for the actual L9 versus the DG2 comes in at $6.86. So the L9 is going to win out from a cost perspective. However, at the end of the day, looking at profit, it's close. Within 26 cents, the L9 comes in at 11.02 versus the DG2 comes in at 11.28. So moving over to price, let's take a look and see kind of what some of the major resellers on the market are currently charging for this miner. So starting out, we'll look at the ASIC marketplace. They have the L9 currently available for their August batch at $8,399. And the DG2, which is supposed to ship in November, is $7,999. Now, Crypto Miner Bros, we have the exact same pricing over there as well. Coin Mining Central, significantly more. We have 8,510, and we also have 8,377. Now, looking at terahashes, they're at 8,550 for the L9, and we do have 8,300 for the DG2. ASIC plug comes in at 8,787 for an August batch of the 17 gigahash models, and they do not have any pre-orders for the DG2. Finally, BT Miners comes in at 8,100 for the L9, and the DG2 comes in at 7,860. Now, I want to make sure I point this out. Please do your research when you're looking at these numbers, because you do want to check with these resellers to make sure that customs and your tariffs are paid, and that's all included in this number. If it's not, you could see an increase of 30% or more. All right, so the Bitmain Antminer L9 versus the Elphapex DG2. Hopefully I provided you guys all the information you guys need to make an educated decision on which script miner is best for you. Please leave your thoughts, comments, feedback directly down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.